Welcome back to the Icecrown Raid Guide. My name is The Great Me, and in this video I will be discussing our strategy for Deathbringer Saurfang, which is the 4th boss in the Icecrown Citadel raid instance. The Deathbringer Saurfang encounter is a burndown fight that gets progressively harder as the fight goes on. This encounter relies on good execution and being able to focus your healing and DPS as needed. One of the most important mechanics of the fight is a buff that Saurfang has, which is called Blood Link. Whenever Saurfang or one of his summoned creatures damages a player, it will cause him to gain blood power. For every 1 point of blood power Saurfang has, he will grow 1% larger and do 1% more damage. Your range should be spread out so that they are all at least 12 yards away from each other. This is because of Blood Nova, which will hit a random player as well as anyone within 12 yards of them for 9,500 to 10,500 damage. For every player that is hit by Blood Nova, Deathbringer Saurfang will gain 2 blood power. Saurfang will use this ability every 20 to 30 seconds, so keep that in mind when you're raid healing. Saurfang will also use an ability called Boiling Blood, which is the damage over time debuff that does 5,000 damage every 3 seconds for 15 seconds. This debuff is usually placed on 4 raid members at a time, but sometimes it will be applied to more people. Deathbringer Saurfang will also gain 1 blood power for each tick of boiling blood. Deathbringer Saurfang will also put a debuff on the tank called Rune of Blood. This causes Saurfang's melee attacks to leech 5,100 to 6,900 health from the target and heals Saurfang for 5 times the amount leeched. This debuff lasts 20 seconds, and on normal mode, the healing it does to Saurfang is not large enough to warrant bringing in a second tank over a DPS. However, in this video, my guild did bring in 2 tanks because at the time we were unsure of the mechanic, and we also wanted to have a backup just in case. Whenever Deathbringer Saurfang hits 100 blood power, he will place a debuff on a random raid member called Mark of the Fallen Champion. This debuff causes all of Deathbringer Saurfang's melee attacks to hit this target, plus an additional 5,700 to 6,300 damage per hit. Every time this player is hit, Deathbringer Saurfang will gain 1 blood power, and if the player that has Mark of the Fallen Champion dies under the effect of this debuff, it will cause Deathbringer Saurfang to be healed for 5% of his total health. Mark of the Fallen Champion has an infinite duration and cannot be removed by any abilities. It will also persist through death, so if you plan on battle resing somebody who died with it, make sure that they have a bunch of heals right when they pop up. Because Mark gives Saurfang blood power, it means that the speed at which he gains blood power throughout the fight will increase exponentially as time goes on, so the faster you kill him, the easier it will be. One way to help negate some of the damage that Saurfang does is to disarm or dismantle him whenever he has around 80 blood power. Doing this will obviously reduce tank damage, but more importantly, it will also reduce the damage that anybody with Mark of the Fallen Champion will take. Also, because all of the damage in this encounter is physical, it's not a bad idea to have your mages buff the raid with Amplify Magic. Approximately every 30 seconds, Saurfang will spawn 5 blood beasts in a circle around him. Each blood beast has approximately 91,000 health, and all blood beasts have a buff that reduces their AoE damage taken by 95% and disease damage taken by 70%. Whenever a blood beast successfully lands a melee attack, it will cause Saurfang to gain 1 blood power. For this reason, the blood beasts are to be kited rather than tanked. Blood beasts are susceptible to all snares and stuns, so ideally you want to have hunters make a path of frost traps so they can be snared the entire time while being kited. Moonkin Druids are also one of the best classes to do the kiting because they have Typhoon, which can be used to push the blood beasts back and essentially reset the kite. When each pack of blood beasts spawns, your Moonkin should be channeling Hurricane as they spawn so they can get initial aggro. Hunters should also use Misdirect on the Moonkin and use Multi-Shot to help get aggro on all of the adds. Once all of the adds have cleared the melee, ranged DPS should focus down all of the adds, but they should pick 1 target at a time rather than splitting DPS. Melee who use an AoE ability in their normal rotation, such as Fury Warriors and Paladins, need to be aware of the timers for when the next pack of Blood Beasts are going to spawn. They also need to make sure that their AoE does not hit the Blood Beast when it spawns, because then it may cause them to have initial aggro and therefore get hit. Thank you for watching this movie. As always, feel free to ask questions or add suggestions either in the comments section on YouTube or in the thread dedicated to this guide on TankSpot.com. Also, TankSpot donors can download all of these movies directly from our servers in high definition. Click the second link in the movie information box to learn more.